Hey guys, what's up? I'm Ryan Fee, and I am making this video on behalf of Upswing Poker. Right now what we're doing is playing 4 tables of 50 cent $1 on America's Card Room. And what I wanted to do with this video was to play a little bit and sort of, play some hands, let you guys see how I play, and then sort of explain what I'm doing so that you can get a feel for, how an elite poker player approaches the game. Approaches the game and plays his hands. So what I'm going to do here is we're gonna fire off some hands, play 4 tables, get some action, and then in the next video we're going to go down. We're going to take these hands, we're going to break it down, and I'm really going to explain sort of my thought process. So let's see, this player called in the small blind. We're gonna bet this flop here. So real quick, a little bit about me. I started playing poker about 9 years ago. I deposited a small amount of money online and then sort of grinded up through the stakes. I'm just going to fold this. Along with my partner, Doug Polk, who's my partner in Upswing Poker, and been one of my best friends for many, many years. We just started as kids with a little bit of money playing online, and have since moved up to play basically the biggest games online and live. We were both regulars in the super high stakes tournament scene. You may have seen me or Doug on TV playing 100K or at the final table of some tournament. But we come from an online background, but we also play a lot of live poker as well. So here at Jack 10, face a 3-bet on the button. C-bets, we got a call. Talk a little bit more about that in the next video. Bets again, small bet. We have a flush draw, great turn for us. We're definitely going to be willing to see the river here and maybe even bluff. I think we might actually have a pretty good hand to potentially bluff with. So let's see, how big should we bet here? At this point, we are basically repping that we have 3 of a kind, and I think that let's just go. We're going to check queen 10. I think we have a reasonable hand to do it. I think it's a reasonable play to make. We're going to have trips here. It's good to bluff as well. I think you can have a lot of middling hands, and it's part of poker is definitely putting your opponents in tough spots. Queen 10, raise the button, really standard. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next video. And then I think the flop check is one of the more interesting things, and I'll talk about why I think that's important and why I think people maybe see that a little bit too much. We actually have a blog post about that on the blog. There's a ton of free content on the blog. I highly recommend you guys checking that out. Once we face a turn bet, we have to call, and then on the river, we feel pretty confident our hand is good. And I think it's good to bet here. I think that it's possible our opponent maybe has a hand like 5s, or maybe river to 9 somehow, and could potentially think that we have ace high, or even king high, and would be bluffing and might try to hero call us. I don't think we're very much risk to get check raised, and I just think we pretty much have the best hand and we could get called, so got to put in the bet there. But I'll talk more about the decisions that led up to that, which I think are more interesting. Part about that hand, I think everybody could kind of look at the river and say, okay, yeah, we're good, let's bet, and then play their sort of play their hand accordingly from that point. 6-7's kind of close. Poer. I'm not 100% sure about exactly how this player plays. Not sure how loose his opens are, so we're gonna make a close fold. I think 8-7 we might have to play. Maybe play as a root raise. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video when we start to break everything down. Here with Ace Jack. So I haven't talked about my notes real quick. My notes here are yellow players are grinders, the regulars, the good players. Orange guys are short stackers that like to leverage having less chips to use special strategies to their advantages. I could talk about that in the next video sort of as well. And then the green guys are typically, if you have the green note, the bottom right hand corner, chances are you're recreational player of some kind. You're playing only 1 table. You're definitely not an expert poker player, and they'll play in a sort of a distinctive way where they like to play a little bit speculatively. So versus him, Ace Jack suited, he's been raising early position. I think he might be playing too many hands. I think we're good to go to 3-bet this, re-raise pre-flop, do that, make it small, get to play his pot in position versus him. Okay, wow, a lot of big hands. So 5s is just going to be easy fold versus this over bet. This player could very well be bluffing, but I think that we would have better hands to potentially call this with, so we're just going to fold those. Ace Jack, we have to call. 2 over cards in a flush draw. We're beating, all of his high card hands. We're losing to his pairs. He won't have that many 9s in his range, and but he will have hands. He will have hands such as 5s or 7s or sort of something like that. But But yeah, on the river here, we're in a bit of a tough situation. Our hand really looks like ace high, and I actually think that I think we're just gonna hero call him here, just because like he could be doing something kind of funky. Nice. So yeah, our hand sort of looks like ace high there. We'll go. That's a bit of a more complicated hand as well, and I think there's a bit of an interesting dynamic that we haven't played any hands with this guy, but he has half a stack, and we know that he's a recreational player. We'll go in the next video when we start breaking down the hands, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more depth. King 3, I don't think I saw the action. I think we just called and then checked it down. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think we're good to just let this hand go. Another thing you'll see over here on the right is, so I have my pre-flop ranges, the hands that I'm raising from each position, which is incredibly important for every kind of poker player to have. You can download those free on our website. They're really useful. I play with pre-flop ranges all the time, and then if we sort of scroll through here, we'll see in our lab, which is like our full sort of A to Z course, we really get down and teach the basics and the fundamental sort of our outlook and view on poker. We also have more advanced ranges where we talk about once somebody has raised, what do you do, and then we break it down here where if we go back to these, so this range is the red hands are raised, the purple hands are fold. And then in this range, when the big blind, when we're in the big blind and the cutoff raises, sort of what do we do? We have green hands, which are now calls, and then reds are still raised and purples are still folds. We have these ranges to talk about a bunch of different situations to really get you sort of in the mindset of appreciating all the little things that happen pre-flop that can sort of narrow down that situation, and then how to respond to sort of all that input and make good, sound poker decisions. And we'll go into these ranges a little bit more in the next video as well. So yeah, you should definitely. I would definitely recommend using these ranges, having ranges, and then using them, or at least thinking about like as different things happen pre-flop. As we're more out of position, more in position, we should be playing more or less hands and sort of things of that nature. Here with 10-2, this player Humpy Ninja. I'm actually not sure about Humpy. He is apparently kind of horny and could really be a regular or a recreational player. I'm not sure at this point. I only see him on one table. So yeah, I'm just not sure right now. For the time being, I'm going to say that we're just going to reserve judgment on Humpy. I'm leaning towards regular, but I'm just not sure. So we'll, that's I think another good thing, or something that you should do with poker. You should reserve a lot of judgment. You should wait and play with somebody for a while before you sort of go off labeling them one way or another. You should get a good feel for their game. So yeah. Okay. All right. I think this is a pretty good introduction. I think we have a lot of stuff here. And, I think there's a lot of ideas and sort of cool concepts that I can talk about. So we're going to stop this video here, and I'm going to take all of the ideas. I'm going to rewatch this real quick, take all the ideas, take the hands, and we're going to put them in a replayer and watch them in the next video, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth, explain my thought process, explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and try to give you guys sort of that really elite perspective on how to play poker. So yeah, be sure to check that out, and also check out our blog. We write a ton of cool stuff on there. We write stuff that I really think that no one else can, and we try to make it interesting and fun and really informative and helpful. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.